I've been working with trafficking victims, advocates, etc. for a really long time, and a lot of the time we're so concerned about the victims and the traffickers that we often forget about the demand that is driving this horrible epidemic. And so I just wanted to share a little bit about what we know, the very little that we know about men that purchase sex. And I say men because it's in 99% of these types of situations, it is men that is purchasing sex. Over 20% of men in the United States have admitted to purchasing sex, and we oftentimes have this idea of who these men are, but actually they're quite normal. 70% of them are in a committed relationship. The average age of men that are buying sex is 39 years old, but it's getting lower and lower. 40% of them use some type of online method to make this arrangement, and most of them are doing it at the peak hour of 2 p.m. So that means that men are going online and purchasing sex, and oftentimes not knowing if it's with a minor or not while they're at work. So just like getting ready for their evening. Many men that say that they purchase sex are not purchasing specifically for a minor, but if they end up with a minor, they don't say no. So they don't, stop the situation or even try to get help. A lot of people want to know why men would purchase sex, and the most common reasons are seeking some type of intimacy, but also conversely wanting to have no type of emotional or commitment or expectation from this person that they look at really as a commodity. The other reason is that they want to engage in sex acts that they are either too ashamed to ask for with their partner, or believe that their partner will say no to, or their partner said no to. And so they believe if they pay, over 80% of men that pay for sex believe that they can ask for anything, and that the person, the woman that they're exploiting, the girl that they're exploiting, should do it because they've paid for it. But we all know that this is a mixture of some type of pathology, especially when we're talking about children, some type of pedophilia or addiction or sex addiction. But it's also really at the core about power and control, and this idea that they can wield that over another person, especially a child. There's a whole bunch of reasons for that. But what we can do about it is to be able to have this conversation about what sex means, about what relationships mean, about not creating monsters in the shadows, because the people that are buying sex and that are exploiting these young girls are, again, everyday people that we may be in contact with. What do we know stops people from buying sex? What do we know stops people from exploiting children? There's two big things that research shows us. One is transparency. So if you shame people, if people find out, men that have been caught say, if anybody from my family or work knew that I did this, I would never have done it. And the second is prosecution, punishment, a consequence. So in many cases, people think that, they're just going to get a slap on the wrist. And unfortunately, that's what's been happening. So we really have to pay attention to all the pieces of this epidemic, especially the demand and what is driving the exploitation of children. My name is Dr. Annalisa Enrile. I'm a clinical professor at the USC Suzanne Dworak-Peck School of Social